Hello world, I'm Ren and this is Grunge Granny. I wanted to talk today about junk journaling. I got into junk journaling not even really realizing that I was into junk journaling. I'd always been a person who used sketchbooks as my personal journals or my personal diaries because I like to draw in them and put stickers in them and pictures, and all of my personal journals kind of ended up turning into, I guess, like a combination of an art journal and a scrapbook, I guess. It turns out that's kind of what junk journaling is. It's all those little things that you want to keep and not want to get rid of, where you're like, oh, I went on this trip down to New Orleans and I got this napkin and this napkin was cool. What can I do with it? Or I'm gonna put this pretty business card here. It can go anywhere, but I feel like junk journaling specifically facilitates that because there are so many things you can make out of your trash. Oh, there's my cat. Okay, let me go take him outside. Hang on. My cat is so chatty. So I'm making this channel, right? And one of the things that I want to do with this channel is talk about how I use a lot of creative outlets to work through and process trauma, but also daily life things, and work through triggers and feel my feelings, and almost use it as a form of meditation sometimes. But when I first became a mom, I was in the middle of grad school and I very much felt like I couldn't do a lot of my creative endeavors, or that I would have to pursue my creative endeavors at the risk of sacrificing my self-care, where I would stay up very, very late because it was the only time I was alone and I could bring out art supplies without worrying about a toddler getting into them, or have time to draw a picture or paint a picture. Just really did a lot of damage to myself. And later, one of the things that I've gotten really into now is junk journaling. And it's not that I think that junk journaling necessarily scratches that itch completely, but I do wish I had gotten into it earlier. I wish that I hadn't put so much pressure on myself in the beginning. I wish that I had just opened a book and made a junk journal and actually kept it a junk journal, where you're literally using your junk mail for papers and coffee and collaging and painting whatever and just writing your thoughts down wherever. I don't do a lot of junk journaling. And that's only because I have so many journals. Now I have way too many, and so I guess I can't say I don't do a lot, because I guess I probably do more than the average bear, but I don't just dedicate all of my time to strictly junk journaling. I have a lot of other writing that I do. I also have flash fiction that I'm working on, and then very personal, introspective journaling that I do, and silly, loose, free journaling. I do morning pages, and there's too many journals for me to say that I do junk journaling a lot. I also like to make it. So like, I like to make ephemera, I like to make the journal, I like to make books. I like making the book because I really like reusing materials. I like seeing what I have. I like using a combination of recycled things and other things. And as I've gotten more into this process, I'm kind of finding that I prefer using recycled materials more than anything else, and so I do want to stick with that more. I wanted to go ahead and make this video because MegJournals did a Junk Journal July kind of a challenge, where she had a prompt every single day of the month. And at first I started doing it, and I think I could do it because at the time Corey Dahman hadn't finished her Scrapbuster idea book series. And then when she finished her Scrapbuster idea book series, then I just wanted to finish my Scrapbuster idea book, and then now I just want to make journals. And I feel like that's kind of how it goes with me, where I get really into a thing and then I get really into the processes of that thing, where now I don't just want to journal, I want to make journals. And I keep thinking about when it comes to this channel and why and what is this emotional connection to making journals for other people, is that I just want stories to be treated as valuable. I want people to feel like their stories are valuable and important, even if they're small and even if they're silly, even if it's not seemingly important, because I think that once we start treating our stories and our little one-liners as if they are important, we start to value our own voice, and I think that that's really important. So I am in the process of making a lot of junk journals. I also like junk journals because, again, being a parent, I feel like sometimes it's really hard to fit in art in life. That unless you already have a career that's kind of like that, or a way to integrate it in more. I just know so many parents who tell me, I used to paint, I used to journal, I used to scrapbook, I used to draw, I used to play music. I want them to just do it again. And I know that it's hard to refigure out a schedule where 3 or more people's lives are involved and figure out, okay, well, where am I going to spend the 30 minutes on this a day? It's hard, but I think it is harder when you don't have a space for it. And I really want to encourage everyone to get a journal and start a journaling practice and be loose and free with it. Don't tell yourself that it has to adhere to any rules at all. And if that is too daunting, kind of like when you get an assignment that's like, hey, write a paper, it can be about anything. And you're just like, okay, well, now I have no idea what to write. Give yourself some direction then. Say that it's only going to be about highlights, or this is a gratitude journal, or this is just going to be the funny stuff my toddler said, or this is going to be the equivalent of the just shower thoughts memes that you always see, but just your own just shower thoughts where it's the weird stuff that you think, or maybe random stuff you learned, and that can be that, and it can be a thing. There's a podcast I listen to called Happier by Gretchen Rubin, and she has a thing that she put out called the Line a Day Journal, where it's just a journal that has spots for 1 line a day, and it's to get people into the habit of a journaling practice where you literally just write 1 sentence a day. And I think that you can buy something if you feel like you want something that's been produced for that reason, but it's also something that you can just do on your own. And I think that what's great about a junk journal is that it doesn't have to even be a line. You can say, I'm just going to put in something from my day. It can be a sticker, a napkin, a stamp, a picture. You can be a picture that you drew. It can be a quote that you found on the internet, and just putting in something tangible for yourself to remind yourself of your life. It sounds weird. It sounds weird to say to remind yourself of your life, but I mean that. I do mean that. I feel like I spent 2020 working nonstop. I had just gotten a job when the pandemic hit, and I was terrified that I was going to lose it, because I knew that since this pandemic hit, if they did cuts, they were going to be cutting the people they hired most recently, and I was one of the people that was hired most recently. So I spent that entire time just working, and now I feel like I don't have anything that marks what I felt or documented anything I was learning or doing with my time, because I literally worked the entire time. And I wish I would have done 1 thing a day that documented how I felt, even if it was a picture or a sticker or a meme, or wrote down the name of a YouTube video or a song I kept listening to, just something a day. And I didn't. And I found that doing it now in 2021, has given me an appreciation for every single day. And it also helps me remember it. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but my memory just isn't the best anymore. And being able to document things daily helps me remember at least the highlights. Even if it's at least 1 thing, I can think, yeah, that was a really cool video, and I really loved that quote, and that, oh yeah, that's the video that totally got me thinking about this thing. Or, yeah, we watched that movie, and that was really cool. 1 thing that I can go back and reflect on every single day without it being these laboriously detailed journals of schedules, because I don't need that. I don't need to see how I time blocked. I might in the future when I'm trying to get that done more efficiently, but right now I'm not at that point. Mostly I just want to say, so in this video I want to show some of the Junk Journal July prompts that I did do that were set up by MegJournals. And I want to show them because I think that they were all pretty different. I tried to incorporate different things that I was interested in. These took me a long time, so don't use these as an example for anything, but I do think what they can be used as an example of is just what you can do. Some of them involved painting, some of them were just collage, some of them were mixed media. Well, they're all mixed media. Some of them took all day, some of them took 1 hour. Part of it is because all of the prompts that were for Junk Journal July I wanted to do in a specific journal, and I did them in a very large journal. I'm going to show you that now. It's this one right here. Gosh. This is big. This is a big journal. So doing one page in this journal, or originally I had thought I was going to do spreads. That wasn't a great idea. So then I switched it to pages, and again, I just got way too ambitious with it. But I do want to show what I did so that I can hopefully get you inspired and pumped on starting your own journal, seeing the freedom and the loosey-goosiness you can have with it, and start small. Just start really small. And I'm going to be working on some small junk journals, and I'll be showing that process as well. But first I have to make them. All right. I'm not going to ramble anymore. Just start a journal. Start a journal. Any of your creative endeavors or interests, put it in there. Document your life. Remember your life. Remember your days. Treat them like they're important. Treat your memories like they're important. They are. And remind yourself that your voice matters. And now let's get into this journal. All right, not gonna lie, I'm gonna try and do everything on this camera instead. But this camera is gonna have to be held vlogger style, so I guess we're gonna do it that way. So let's start. This journal was made by a friend of mine named Miss Vicky. She has a farm, and I did take out quite a bit of pages from it so that I could make it chunkier. So these are some of the pages that are still unfilled. But for prompt number 1 was welcome. And I wrote Junk Journal July. I felt like this prompt was both a welcome from me to others, but, I meant to say also, from this Bujo to me and vice versa. I meant Junk Journal. When I was working on this page, mostly I wanted to add material. So I've been really into the gel matte medium and adding in different material. Right here, had cheesecloth and some upholstery fabric. I did some of my collage clusters with a little faux stamp, and then I added them in different spots just to kind of make it more lively. I wanted some pockets and stickers. This is from a Happy Mail. Isn't it beautiful? I had these stickers that I really liked, and then in these pockets I put some little notes to myself about what my goal was and also some things that I was interested in. And then I had done this painting of myself and the outfit I was wearing in the Hemi gouache so that I could, one, work on painting a person and also play with that gouache and see how it worked on this paper. I think it's pretty fun. So number 2 was highlights. Highlights for Junk Journal July. And this one I wrote I wrote something in here. Oh, right here. My little TBH. I'm not sure what to put down, so I guess I'll write down just things that if I was catching up friends on happenings, but like as if from birth. It's like identity stuff, I guess. Growth. Most important lessons is probably a good thing. I wrote time management is improving. Even in working on this spread page, I feel like an imposter. Wrote perpetual student. I thought it was funny to use this number stamp and wrote another lol, and I put motherhood, this tag, but learning to love myself. And then I wrote artist. I want to make things of all sorts, all the time. Sculpt, bookbind, mixed media, textile art, and always learn how to improve and develop more, and always learn how to improve and develop more and better ideas of ways to mix things and express the ideas I love. That was this highlights page. The next page was botanicals, Junk Journal July number 3. And this one I don't believe I wrote in it. I gave myself a spot for it, but I just wanted to put in different botanical related things. So a lot of little flower stickers, little flower tag, stamps, washi tape with flowers, some butterflies. Oh, I have this little tag too. And 4 was details. I wrote, often I spend too much time on the details versus the big picture. Let's try to focus on both this go around. So I found things that I just thought had really great little details. Pieces of ephemera that I found. And then I wanted to do a bunch of layers of color. So for Junk Journal July number 5, the theme was vintage. And I wrote on this one, the only good things to come from the past are the things to learn from, and the style. I don't remember what this is from. It was just like a little booklet, but I had this part and I thought it was funny. But does your child sew? Send 3 labels and 50 cents for a generous package of clippings of Wright's trimmings for dolls' clothes. Allow about 3 to 4 weeks for delivery. Include zip code and address. Old and aged dictionary page and some pictures from a book. And this one already happened to have this little cluster and tag tab, which I think is pretty cute. Using a tag as a tab. So then for number 6, there we are. The prompt was minimalism. I did a little mixed media page that just had some layers. This is also why I wanted to use this camera. See the details better. So this I had sewed tracing paper with a layer of cheesecloth, then tulle, and this handmade paper with flowers and leaves pressed inside. And I sewed it together and then added this little tea leaf tag. I liked the overall look of this page. And then I think the next one I did was over here, and it was the patterns page. This is where I wove a bunch of paper together to make a pattern, but then also used this texture stamp that I use sometimes, and then made little patterns inside of these label stamps. This one I did with stamps that I made. This one was with, I think, a Posca pens, and then this one was with acrylograph, and then I wrote my own schedule, and I wrote, repetition of form brings comfort to the eye, but too much will make me lose my mind. My favorite, or maybe not my favorite, but one that took the longest was this trash to treasure one, where I used a bunch of trash to make this tab with other little tabs, and this is a 2-sided paper clip. And then I made this little box, and I was really proud of my little treasure box. This is the one that took me all day, and it was because I had created a collage masterboard that I cut into this shape, and then I used other trash paper or pattern paper that I wasn't fond of to make kind of like springs, I suppose, so that this could open and have some stretch, some bounce to it. Oh, and I also made this yarn. I crocheted it and then just wove a little piece of lace through it after I think every 10, would you call it a crochet stitch after every 10 stitches? And I have all of my treasure. So I made all these little coins, which again were from the collage masterboard, and I put these thingies on it, and these things came from a scarf that used to belong to my mom. And on one side I wrote a trauma, which is my trash, and then I wrote the reclaiming of it. This one goes from sexual trauma to owning my body. This one is fear of the unknown, and the other side says trust in myself and the process, survival mentality, slow and creative living, people pleasing, loving myself and others as is. I can't remember how many I did. I think 8. Insecurity, grounded identity, thriving in chaos, loving discipline, unworthiness / lack of value, value and worth in existence. My last one, lack mentality, trusting my magnetism. That was my trash to treasure page, which I guess that took way too long, but I had to wait for a lot of it to dry. I think if I create collage masterboards in advance, and I've already gessoed and already coffee painted, then I won't have to. Other things won't take that long if I want to go ahead and cut them into other shapes. And the final one that I did was in the garden, which I don't even think I finished fully. There it is. I didn't finish it. So this was my garden spread. So this tag is still unfinished, and it will go just on the side. I found this in a book, and I really liked this quote. It says, such gardens are not made by singing, oh how beautiful, and sitting in the shade. And I did one of those garden spread pages that you always see people doing in their journals that are really pretty and have a whole bunch of layers. I had to try. Thought it would be perfect for in the garden. And then that's it. I didn't go past, I think day 10. I did the envelope one in my book of shadows, but I didn't do more than this because this one again took too long, and I realized that I was doing a thing where I was putting too much pressure on myself for it, and I didn't want to keep doing that. I hope that gave you some ideas and some inspiration. Everybody's been posting their Junk Journal July prompts and what they did, so I'm hoping whoever checking out this one that you're also checking out those. Check out MegJournals because she even made a journal for it, and hers was really cool. Other than that, I will be posting on some other art things, I have a video coming up about gouache and intuitive art. I still have my August bullet journal spreads to post, which are pretty standard, but I don't know, they're helpful for me, so maybe they'd be helpful for somebody else, you never know. And how I'm going to be using this template, goodness, this Scrapbuster idea book template that I made for myself to fill in the spaces of books. These are only 2 of them, but I have some that are already mostly together. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.